welcome back to
Some Like It Pop.
that was unison in stereo. I am managing editor Samantha Vincenti.
And I'm associate editor Ali Zubiak.
And guys, have you ever been listening to a podcast and they tell you that they recorded this podcast once before and now they have to redo it because they lost it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have, and we did that also. So twice.
We did it twice.
Well, 1 point.
1 and a quart. 1 and a 3,000th.
Look, we won't bore you with the details, but the point is we're here now and we're going to talk about Lorelai Gilmore and the men who loved her and some who loved her intermittently but couldn't quite commit, and then some who loved her but were really bad at talking like normal adults. Just a lot of stuff to cover.
The Gilmore universe.
The Gilmore universe, and we have a lot of ground to cover and I've been doing a lot of rewatching because now we have about 6 weeks until November 25th when the 4 Gilmore Girls Day in the Life movies hit Netflix, and I have to figure out a way to tell my family who I'm visiting why I can't talk to them for about 360 minutes.
They'll understand.
They'll totally understand.
They'll definitely understand.
Yeah, my niece and nephew will definitely understand.
Oh, yeah. How old are they?
For sure. Oh, like 8 and 11.
Oh, that's the perfect age to understand.
Like television. Right. So we'll see.
It's a good lesson to teach them that television takes precedent over family.
It's a great lesson. My nephew has started learning that lesson, and by which I mean, last time I saw him, he made me listen to the Pokemon theme song about 8 times in a row.
Just the theme song?
Just the theme.
Not
well, I
even
think he
the
probably
show?
watches the DVDs because I don't think they make the show anymore, although I'm sure they will. Do they make the show?
I don't know.
Look, this isn't a
haven't watched
Pokemon
in
podcast.
years.
This is the Gilmore Girls podcast.
That's true. We're not experts on Pokemon.
We're not. Gilmore Girls is another story. So, okay. So last time we did this with Rory, we did a thing where we said in unison from least favorite to most favorite who our favorites are.
It worked perfectly because we had the exact same ranking.
We did have the same ranking that time. We will not this time.
No.
But also, for the sake of this, we should say that we are dealing with the 4 majors in Lorelai's life. Obviously, Lorelai, being a grown woman, had a bit more of an active love life than Rory. But aside from Alex, that coffee shop guy,
who just vanished and was never heard from again.
He served more. He was like the guy that Luke taught Lorelai how to fish for.
Yes.
So he was mostly existed, I think, to prop the eventual Luke and Lorelai
because
relationship.
I remember I was thinking back to that specific scene and I couldn't remember why it was happening. And then I was like, oh, because he's teaching her for her date.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came and went.
Yeah, he didn't make much of an impression.
No. So we're dealing with the 4 majors of Lorelai's life. And now, at the count of 3, we will both say our least favorite guy of the 4.
Oh, God. I feel like...
I know, it's hard because I have problems with all of them, but I also like things about all of them.
I think I might have changed... No.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Jason.
Luke. Oh, everyone hates me already because I said Luke. But let's talk about...
was Luke in the bottom last time for you?
No, I changed it. I know, because
Wow.
I was rewatching and I was like, oh, there are things I like about the other person. Anyway, let's talk about Jason.
Yeah,
first.
The worst.
Because I think he is universally
hated.
I'd love to meet another Jason lover. I will say, I didn't love Jason. I love Chris Eigeman, the actor who played Jason, who was a star in a bunch of movies in the 90s that I really loved. The Noah Baumbach movies and the Whit Stillman movies, Metropolitan and Last Days of Disco. And he always kind of played a jerk, but like a charming jerk. Not a radical departure. In fact, I'm 100% sure that Amy Sherman Palladino probably cast him because she was also in love with his archetype that he played in these movies. But I'm totally in love with him from those movies, so I couldn't divorce it. And I think I told you that I see him in my neighborhood sometimes.
Yes.
And I have never gone up to him somehow.
I did hear about that. I wasn't jealous, though.
Yeah, I know, because I just heard your ranking, Allie.
I still think you should go up to him next time you see him and tell him about this podcast.
We should. He doesn't seem like he would be impressed.
He would.
Always looks mildly irritated, but...
That's just his face, probably.
No, he has a family. He looks points. Anyway, Jason was, I think, created to see what would happen if Lorelai dated the male version of herself.
Right. Yes, which is why I thought it was funny that you like him because you dislike Lorelai so strongly.
Okay, sidebar. I don't. You're right. I do sometimes in rewatching. I do find myself liking Lorelai less now, as an older adult. I do find her to be entitled in ways that I think, depending on who's writing it, I think Amy Sherman Palladino is very enamored of Lorelai, and I can't tell if she's writing Lorelai as an obnoxious, entitled person who thinks it's completely fine to talk through movies and get kicked out and be surprised and like accidentally kill animals. And who are
Wait, I don't remember that.
remember like when she got Paul Anka the dog and everyone was
Yes.
so worried because she had managed to kill all of her pets.
Oh, true. But
And
Paul Anka was great.
I love
Fine,
I love Paul Anka.
living.
It was probably the only dog they ever added in a later season of a show that I ever was like, yes, please,
That's
that
true.
dog. Usually with a child or a dog, 'cause as we all know,
Ugh.
we hate the kid that was added later.
Yes.
So with the dog, I actually loved. No, but I think that Amy Sherman Palladino is enamored of Lorelai's bratty behavior. I myself am certainly not as in my rewatch, and just a lot of her Emily-ish behavior that I think other writers, when they write episodes, completely hit on that binary between Emily and Lorelai in the ways that they are alike in some ways more than Amy does. Even though Amy theoretically knows Lorelai better than anyone, I think she's more charmed by Lorelai than some of the
Right.
other writers, and I prefer it when you can clearly see the Emily and Lorelai. But so yeah, I mean, it does. Her brattiness does bother me sometimes, and I'm sorry that your parents are so rich, things like that. It's hard for me to tolerate with Lorelai sometimes. And also in season 6, when now I'm just off on a tangent. In
Yeah, this
season
is a
6,
different
when
podcast,
it really is
Sam.
just a very, very short tangent. When Rory, screws up her life and drops out of Yale for 2 seconds because one person said something critical to her and that had never
Yeah.
happened before.
Right.
Lorelai, I am really of two minds on how she handled that. And especially my
Really?
rewatch, I was like, girl's not allowed to mess up once. The girl was like 20. I don't know. Just I thought the
Oh.
cold turkey because she was mad that her parents stepped in just really rubbed me the wrong way. They didn't talk for 5 months.
I know that was
She's
horrible.
an adult. And that's another thing. I know that the show hinges upon their kind of best friend relationship, but in that case, when Lorelai was forced to step up and be an adult, she was not cute. And I know that's a divisive opinion. I just feel like she's the mom and she should have.
I feel like
Stepped
we
in.
need like another whole episode to talk about this.
We might. Okay, back
We
to
should.
Jason.
Yes.
I really loved their banter. I know. Yeah, and their banter was all too brief because then
Ugh,
the
thank God.
trajectory happened with, her parents, which also Lorelai, that was her. She didn't help the situation by insisting on not in a very
Right.
childish, teenagery way of not wanting to tell her parents about it.
I always hate that kind of plot device anyway.
Yes,
I hate keeping things from people when you know it's going to get out eventually.
right. Like just to insert a lie to keep that was like the entire problem with every season of The OC after season 2 and every season of Gossip Girl after season 3.
No, Gossip Girl, it was perfect.
No.
The greatest show ever.
But there would be unnecessarily lies like that to further the plot. They'd be like, I'm going to go buy shoes.
Or
But really,
even-
for no reason, they'd be at the dentist and for no
Yeah.
reason they lied.
Or even Pretty Little Liars, your favorite show, Sam, when
Best
they
show.
just don't tell anyone anything ever. Like something horrible happens and they just don't.
Right.
They don't go to anyone about it.
They're
I don't
liars.
understand.
It's right
I
there in
know,
the
that's
title.
True. You're right.
Yeah.
I was warned
Exactly.
in the beginning.
Yeah, so I love Jason. I would have liked to see even more Jason. Certainly not Endgame. That seems preposterous because
Yeah.
also then another thing that bothers me when shows, and this show certainly did with Jason, is that then they kind of, when they wrote him out of the show, they didn't just stop with the whole his life has been summarily destroyed and that his relationship is gone and his career is gone and his job is gone. They didn't, not just with that, they didn't just write him off then. They had him come back when the Dragonfly was opening and be a creep and just sit there. Remember, he
Oh,
came back to make
yeah.
amends with Lorelai. Although there's a
Yeah.
lot of that sort of moxie that could be construed as being obnoxious in the real world in Gilmore Girls, like how Rory wanted a job at the Stamford Eagle Gazette, and so she just took up residence in the waiting room
Yeah,
for
that doesn't
24
that doesn't
hours.
actually work.
It doesn't work. They call
It doesn't,
security.
yeah.
No one likes you anymore. Don't be a creep. There's a difference between persistence and stalking.
Right. Yeah.
Logan also borderline, but he was trying to win Lorelai back. I mean, Rory back, even though that
Yeah.
worked. So there's a lot of like dogged determinism to the
That's
point of being
true.
too far on Gilmore Girls. But I just didn't like that I was like, why you gotta do Jason so dirty? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I also mentioned this last time when our podcast didn't record, but when she's at his place and he makes her sleep in another room, I still hate it so much. I hate that.
Yeah,
I know you love it.
I'm fine with it. I would love that.
I hate
I would
it.
love it.
I would be so insulted. I would leave.
It was a beautiful room, and I don't like to be touched when I'm sleeping, so I
Well,
thought that was wonderful.
I still hate it.
Jason, imaginary character, call me. AKA Chris Eichman, 10 years ago? 10 years ago.
Wow.
Okay, so now we are on the next one.
Right.
So our second,
Calculating
this is
my
our
head.
third favorite. That's our third favorite.
Third favorite,
Not
okay.
third least favorite. Positive. Third favorite.
Okay.
Okay.
It's least favorite, but
1, 2,
Wait.
3.
Okay.
Christopher. We did not do this right. Okay, just say yours.
Yeah, Christopher.
We're bad
It
at
is
unison.
Christopher.
You were
It's
so good at
Christopher.
unison in the beginning. Okay.
I know. Some like it pop.
Yeah, Christopher, I do kind of love. I wish that he and Lorelai would have ended up together, but that's very again
Yeah.
not realistic.
Just for the sake of the family being together.
Right. Exactly. And they were adorable together, and they did have
Yeah.
this history, but he was too inconsistent.
Yeah, that's the problem. He was bad, and then he was good, and then he sucked again, and then he was fine. It was just the way the character was written too, with too many ups and downs.
Yeah, very, and also very that sort of dude who the second you can smell a woman's disinterest comes back around.
Yes, definitely.
Sort
Which is
of
the
dude.
worst.
Yeah, and then of course his sort of again intermittent interest in parenting Rory.
Yeah.
is not attractive.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Yeah. But I mean, I was really charmed by them in that season 2, season 3, where they were going to get back together.
Yeah.
And which I guess was after Lorelai another classic Lorelai moment of calling him from her bachelorette party for Max.
Oh,
And
the tragedy of that whole
I know.
thing.
And so, yeah, I mean, I guess that was their peak. And he had his life together doing. Oh yeah, we talked about this too.
Yeah.
What's Christopher's job?
No one knows.
Does anyone know? Can someone tell us what Christopher's job is? Because every time they talk about it, it's just like, I got to go into the office to do the business. Oh, the business is really picking up.
Yeah, we don't know specifics though. So tweet us.
Oh,
at
this
Pop
new
Crush.
position I got at the business office.
It's so vague.
I don't know. Yeah, tweet us at Pop Crush. Please tell us what
If you know.
Christopher Hayden's job is. Hayden? Yes. Right? I think so.
I don't know.
Wow.
Wow, I don't know his last name.
Wow.
Can't believe it.
You know Jason Stiles' name, but you don't know Christopher's last
That's
name.
so embarrassing.
I might
Hayden
not know
sounds
it.
right.
It sounds right.
Sounds.
It sounds Connecticut waspy.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm from Connecticut,
It's
so I can say
Hayden.
that. Yeah. Even though my name is not waspy. I did know a Nardini. I had a friend with the last name Nardini. So that's authentic.
That's great.
But a lot of other things on Gilmore Girls are not right for Connecticut. And you
Right,
can
which I
tell.
wouldn't know, not being from Connecticut.
Right.
But
And I think that's the lore goes that Amy Sherman Palladino went to this one Connecticut town, and that's where she conceived of this. And I'm not sure how many times she went to Connecticut, but judging by some of the things in the script, not very often. And also there's some sort of fold in space and time that allows them to travel from New Haven to Hartford in like 5 minutes.
well, remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about Connecticut, and I said I think I did the same thing.
Oh
about
yeah, you got called
locations.
out for conflating
I did, because
New
I didn't
Haven
know
and
that-
Hartford
Yes,
after the
that
podcast
was what it
by
was.
people. Not the same thing. Very, very different. And also like an hour apart. There's a lot of creative time travel on Gilmore Girls in terms of Connecticut geography, and also in the episode where Lorelai proposes to Luke and they want to celebrate, so they go to Dosie's to look for liquor.
right.
You couldn't, in the early 2000s, you couldn't get liquor at a grocery store in New England. You can't walk into a grocery store and get champagne. You can only get beer, and you can only get beer before 8 p.m. because they would cover it with a black cloth because of Puritan law.
This was my favorite tidbit that you told last time. I really loved it. I've actually thought about it since.
Yeah, no, it's like, it made me so angry at the time. And then also the way they would be like, traffic on the 95 is backed up. No one said, like, it's 95. It's just 95. Things like that. Just, it was like, get it right.
Maybe they'll get it right this time.
I don't know why it bothered me more about Connecticut. I've been living in New York City for a sum total of 12 or 15 years, and I have never been bothered by Law and Order's weird non-geography, but for some reason this really bothers me.
That doesn't bother me either, to be fair.
I know, you're from New York. Yeah, I don't know. But I guess with New York, I just take it for granted, and Connecticut's small enough that I'm like, you can do.
Right. The only thing that bothers me about that kind of stuff is Friends. Friends.
Well, sure.
Because it just doesn't look it looks like a soundstage.
Yeah. I think I told you this, but I was in a coffee shop last year right when Friends started streaming on Netflix, which I know Friends is in syndication everywhere, so you'd figure everyone had seen Friends, but there was this whole Friends-essence.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. And
the barista behind the counter, every time someone came in that she nominally recognized, she would say, "Have you seen the show Friends?"
What?
And then they would invariably say yes, because they're in America. And she would go off on how Rachel works at a coffee shop, but her apartment building is huge, and there's no way that someone who works at a coffee shop would be able to afford an apartment that huge.
I have not heard this story before.
She would just bomb this revelation on everybody.
But also, they explained the apartment.
They did explain the apartment. Right. And that happens. That is a New York thing.
It is a New York thing.
It's not such a weirdly garish soundstage apartment, but people have like large family apartments.
Yeah, especially back then, you know?
Totally.
Anyway.
Glad we cleared that up. It's also a Friends podcast. So next,
there's so many layers to us. I love this.
I mean, we watch Friends, we watch Gilmore Girls. It's pretty obscure stuff, but I think you guys can keep up. Okay, so let's just talk about Max, because we're going to talk about Luke last, obviously.
Okay. Max is number one.
Yeah, Max is the best.
Yes,
Max is the best. Max is
the
absolute best. Max is my number one.
He deserved so much better. Treatment-wise, I loved them together as a couple, but I also like Lorelai, so that's the difference.
I liked Lorelai. I mean, granted, also we were just getting to know Lorelai when they got together, but
true.
Even then, because obviously the premise of the show, or a key premise of the show, is that she is a bit of Arrested Development. Maybe I should be more forgiving about this because she had Rory so young. So she felt like a woman with Max.
Yeah.
Like a grown ass woman. And but it was like sexy because it was like kind of forbidden.
Yeah.
And he was so cute in a very grown ass man way that Luke is not, with his backwards baseball cap and same flannel every day.
Which is why they're so suited to each other.
Yeah, fair enough. That's very fair. But yeah, so I just really, really loved that. Obviously, Max and Rory had a connection and talked about how sad they were that he didn't get to be her stepdad. That would have been great.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but...
It was a little weird, but I've never been in that situation.
Right,
I don't know
me
how
neither. Maybe it happens all the time.
And so... that was a shame. I understand that it was that Lorelai, was it that she was hung up on Christopher, or she just wasn't in love with him?
She just wasn't in love with him.
How do you...
And she realized it way too late in the game.
Right, and that's another problem with Lorelai that I have, that I know I should probably be forgiving about, because that's an actual realistic problem that some people have. She's out of touch with her feelings a lot. She's so in touch with her feelings with certain things, and she slays it with the mom game a lot with that. But then with these other things, these glaring things she just know. How did she go for 5 seasons without realizing that Luke was blatantly in love with her?
Well, actually, I have some experience with that, so I kind of get it.
Oh, go on.
I don't really want to go into it on this podcast, but I realized things recently, and I was like,
it's the year of realizing things.
It is
Kylie Jenner,
thank you so much. Yeah. She predicted so well.
She really did.
But that I get, because sometimes if your headspace is not there, like, this person, I'm interested in them romantically, you just don't see it.
So your realization was that?
It was that the other person was interested in me. for
you
years.
didn't know
But
this
I didn't know it
because
at the
you weren't
time.
interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I don't think Lorelai was interested in Luke until later.
Right. I guess that's fair.
I think that's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
so that I
but
forgive.
that I can. Okay, fine. That I understand. That I understand more than getting to the point where you're going to marry someone.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually insane to me. I feel like it's kind of, not to stereotype gender, but I would say it's more of a guy thing, where they come to realize their feelings when it's too late.
I guess based on some limited experience that I also won't share on this podcast because we're not sharing apparently. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's true. So I guess Lorelai's a mystery and an
She
enigma,
is.
and that's what makes her so captivating.
It was still awful when she drove away with Rory.
Yeah,
The morning of, was that the morning of her wedding?
Well, the morning it was gonna take place. I mean, right? She didn't leave like Max standing there with a bouquet
Right.
or anything.
It
But
was
yes, it
gonna
was just
happen,
like,
yeah.
let's blow out of town and not deal with this.
After he sent her all those flowers.
Yeah, and then they kind of got back together for not really got back
It
together,
was like
but
a kiss or something.
yeah, like made out again. And there was 1 second, and then he was like, "This is a terrible idea," which it was.
Yeah.
Good on Max. And then he left, and I don't think he'll be back for the revival.
No, I don't think so. He's probably better off now.
I hope he's married with a family if he wants a
They
family.
should just have, like, you know how in Lost they did flash forwards? Oh, wait, you didn't watch Lost.
I did watch Lost.
Oh, you did watch?
Mhm.
Okay, I can't remember who's watched what because I've watched
Yeah.
nothing. But they do the flash forwards. They should do like a flash sideways with Max.
I would love
know
to.
what's going on with him.
Well, that's more like an Arrested Development thing or something. Like a meanwhile, and then it's like Max and his like beautiful Italian wife
yes.
somewhere.
I
I don't
would
know if she's
welcome that.
Italian.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Was he Italian?
Maybe
He looked
in
it.
Italian
Greek.
American.
Yeah.
I think I was picturing like Lorelai saying so like Max and his beautiful Italian wife. I don't know.
Just like in the dialogue.
Just a zany thing to say.
Right,
Right.
yeah, she would.
totally.
You know,
Yeah.
did you ever see that show that he was on after Gilmore Girls? It was like a mini series called something Kingdom,
No.
the Sixth Kingdom.
Tragic Kingdom, was it about
No,
the formation of No Doubt?
no, he played a werewolf on a show.
Ooh,
You
no.
should watch
I
it.
know it sounds like something
You
I would
love
like.
it. We can put it on our playlist.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to
TV
look that
show.
up for
Okay.
real. Well, good luck to you, Max. I hope you're somewhere doing something great.
I hope you're
in
alive.
Imaginary world. Yeah, I hope he didn't die of cardiac arrest. Unlike Kirk and Taylor, who I hope are dead in the ground.
Buried.
Dead in the ground. I hope the actors are great. I know the actors are great because
Right.
Kirk is in, his brother makes the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he's fine. He's fine.
He's great.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the characters,
Mm-hmm.
don't put them in front of me.
Just buried.
I hate them so much.
Yeah. Buried
Taylor
in a
has
cardboard
no
box.
value.
Thrown into the water. Their corpses have already dissolved.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm great with that.
I hope that's what
I
happened.
hope that's what happens. If it's not, I'm fast forwarding through those scenes because I didn't pay for this Netflix to see more Taylor.
Exactly. Yeah, you got your
Anyway.
subscription specifically
No.
for.
I mean, I got it a few months ahead of time. I want to test it out,
Right. Yeah.
test the connection.
Me
make
too.
sure it's
Like
good.
10
Yeah.
years ahead of time. But
Right.
same.
Right. It's very forward thinking of you. Okay, so Luke. Luke. Now, so is this? I guess if we're ranking, for me, I think I'm again colored by the fact that I'm watching late season 6 again right now. So my
Ugh,
Luke
no.
frustration is at peak levels.
That doesn't count.
Honestly, the ranking should be, and stop me if you disagree.
I disagree.
should be
Mm-hmm.
number 4 Jason. Fair, even if I
Yes.
don't agree. Number 3 Chris.
Yep. Mhm.
Number 2 Max. Perfect man. Lorelai's blind.
Mm.
And number 1 Luke, I guess.
It should be because of the way that the show played
And the
out.
way that Lorelai felt. Otherwise,
Yes.
I think Max is absolutely number one. He's like on Sex in the City. He's totally like the like the Aiden.
Right.
He's
yeah.
totally the
he is.
Aiden of
It's true.
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Everyone wants to be like, are you blind? Anyway, Luke. So Luke, we'll say Luke is number 1.
Luke is number 1 because he wound up being number 1 in Lorelai's life.
Right. He's endgame, and he was technically there from the very beginning.
Yes, he was.
He done been there.
He's
still there.
like a surrogate father for Rory.
Right.
And,
I gotta respect that.
you know,
More of a father than Christopher was,
yes,
as they hashed out.
absolutely. And then he was kind of a father to Jess, and that was nice.
I said this in the Rory podcast, but I never liked Luke as much as his scenes with Jess,
Yeah,
for sure. And I
I
know
agree.
that they were trying to recapture that with April.
Big
But-
mistake.
I know, huge. But yeah, he was good to Lorelai the entire time until they got together.
Yeah.
And then he turned
Of course he
turned
did.
on her.
Of course he turned.
It's,
Oh, what
for
a
me, it
monster.
started with I guess it kind of started with from the jump with like jealousy over Jason being at the inn that night, that first night when they made out, when Jason was being a creep and like posting
Oh,
up
yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
the Dragonfly and
Yeah.
refusing to leave, and he
Yeah.
got jealous about that.
Luke got weirdly possessive.
Like, immediately. And then with the boat thing, like his dead father's boat that he was keeping in the neighbor's garage, and then he was going to just toss it, but Lorelai, again, communication problems that pervaded their entire thing.
Yes.
She took it and put it in their garage. Very nice gesture for someone you love, who you're not sure is making logical decisions in grief. And he was horrible to her, and they didn't speak, and that was just one of many times. He bought a house for them, again, theoretically very thoughtful. And then when she was thinking about taking another job, he burst out, well, what about the kids? Because he had constructed this alternate reality in his mind but never shared it with her.
Yeah, they'd never discussed it.
Then when you found out that he had a daughter, he didn't tell Lorelai for 2 months.
It was too long.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So that's also really messed up.
Also,
that's
how did he
too
keep
long.
it from her? It's such a small town.
That makes no sense. Yeah, that makes no sense. But well, yeah. And just so much. I know it happened on both ends, but it really, really annoyed me. His jealousy with Christopher, which I did somewhat understand, but his level of anger and not being willing to listen about it.
Yeah.
Given that they're both grown adults, was nonsense. So that all adds up to my problems with Luke, but I understand their end game. I understand they are probably best suited for each other.
They are.
They share a community.
Opposites attract, also.
Or, yeah, I guess they are opposites because she's the zany one and
she's like zany and smart and warm, and he's cold and a monster.
He's a cold cap wearing monster.
I love that he's my number 2.
He's a flannel wearing cozy flannel monster.
God, he loves
so much flannel. And in the pictures for the upcoming press photos for the revival, he's still working that same look, that same classic look.
Can't let it go.
10 years later, and I did think that they were all the same shirt the first time I looked at it.
Are they not?
Currently, there's about 18 photos released, and roughly 8 of them contain Luke, and they're all plaid shirt, backwards cap, and on brand. But he is wearing different shirts in every one, and it took me about 5 times of looking at the pictures to realize
I thought they were the same shirt.
There's
subtle.
Like there's
reddish...
at least there's 2 to 3 shirts.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I think was the same thing on the show, but dang, Luke, they did have him occasionally taking his hat off.
Yes,
on the show,
the pilot episode.
And then later too, he started taking a little bit. He started doing it a little more. Took his hat off a little bit more.
You should keep it on.
I don't think we're going to see it off.
No,
in this. No.
I understand though.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going on under there?
Bald spot,
right?
like
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I meant a bald spot. I didn't mean like a baby, like a secret absorbed twin up there. I know there's not a scene where that twist. Lorelai's 5th boyfriend. Yeah, so I mean,
so yeah, Luke was mostly the problem in their relationship, except for that time when Lorelai, when they were gonna elope together. Remember this? And then Luke was like, "Oh, I can't right now," and so she was like, "Fine." So she went and she called Christopher, and then she slept with him. And then the next day, he's at her house, and she shows up, and she tells him, I think, immediately, and then he drives off, and that was kind of the end of that.
Right. I mean, the problem started with the ultimatum, I think, because that was another thing where they just buried their feelings and they're adults, and it was really frustrating to watch. And then, right, one thing after another, and
just
then
kept piling up.
We left with a kind of together,
Luke
and Lorelai at the end.
God, such an unsatisfying ending.
Terrible
last
ending.
Season.
Yeah,
as everyone knows,
horrible. So yeah, I think that we know that in the revival, Luke and Lorelai are still together.
Yes, and I hope that there's no plot line that throws them off. You know, I don't want that to revolve around. Are they gonna? Will they? Won't they?
I'd be fine with them being settled.
Yeah,
I don't need them married.
I don't need them married either right now.
Yeah. Right now. Oh, you want them eventually to get married.
Maybe by fall. Oh wait, no, what's the last one?
Oh, okay.
Spring.
I get it. Okay, so by the last installation, winter.
It starts with
I think
winter, right?
Yes.
So fall.
Yeah.
Mm.
by fall you'd
It
like
would
to
be
see.
nice.
It would be nice. I think everybody wants that.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
I think so too.
My ideal, sorry haters, is is that sure, give them a wedding, and I certainly don't need Rory married, but
No.
I would like to see her with Logan. Sorry.
I would like to see Rory happy and alone.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I don't have I don't want to be toyed with certain people.
Yes.
I don't want them to make me think she's going to get back together with someone and then be like, I choose me. I would just want her to choose her.
That's true.
If that's the way that we're going.
Yeah,
and
that's what
fine.
I want to happen on The Bachelorette someday.
Oh,
I choose
very
me.
much.
Oh my God,
very much so.
that would be the greatest. That's a tangent.
I'm not sure that
it'll never
ABC
happen.
allows it. So Luke is the winner.
Luke, well, sure.
Luke is the de facto winner.
Yeah, we didn't have any say in that.
What if Christopher? Would it be terribly boring if Christopher came back again? Great job that we don't understand. Great consulting job doing consulting for business, consulting at the business factory.
Right.
And then he's amazing. And then suddenly he's super present. And remember, and he's rich now because his grandfather died. So he's super, super rich. Doesn't need to do the business factory anymore even. And what if he comes back and he's incredible to Lorelai and Rory? And would you be so sick of the whole love triangle?
Yes,
You just don't even want to see it.
So I'm over it.
That's fair. That's very, very fair.
I would hate it so much. Wow, just thinking my blood is boiling. If only you could feel it.
What if Luke and Lorelai break up?
No.
Yeah, that would feel like a lot of buildup for nothing.
It would just be so horrible. Oh my God. Now I'm so angry. I don't even want to watch them.
They're going to be together. They're going to be together.
Now I don't know.
No, they are.
What if Lorelai's pregnant? Because that's one of the rumors going around.
I bet she is.
Yeah.
I bet.
I think so.
What if the last four
with
words...
Max's baby.
Somehow Max's baby. Because it's like a lost weird thing. What if the last four words, they always say there's like isn't it four words? The last four words. I'm having a
no
baby, or there's another Gilmore girl. Is that I'm counting on my fingers like a dummy. I can't count.
That would be That would be the worst possible ending. There's another Gilmore girl.
There's baby in here.
She sounds like a robot every time she says it.
I am with child.
Oh God, please.
Gonna be a baby. Okay, no. So
well, they both say the last four words together. Remember?
They're both pregnant.
So, oh my God.
There are now 5 Gilmore Girls. They say it in unison. Like we said, Pop Crush. Some like it pop. Yes, like just like that. We're regular Rory and Lorelai. Okay.
Great.
Well, so I'm glad we tackled this. We will be doing another Gilmore Girls centric episode when the show
drops
on November 25th.
The following
I think it's midnight Pacific time or something.
Yeah, which is the worst.
So if you're waiting, don't wait till midnight. If you live on the East Coast, it's not going to start until 3 a.m.
So stay up.
So don't stay up.
I mean, it's Black Friday, so, stay up, watch an episode, go to Macy's, trample some people.
Do your doorbusters, bust those doors. And then once you've pillaged and then you have 8 microwaves, come back with your huge flat screen TV that you're not giving us a gift.
This is perfect.
And then just watch, just settle in 360 minutes.
I can't believe it's actually the perfect holiday for all of this.
Yeah, it really is. I guess Netflix really knows what they're doing.
Thanksgiving leftovers. If you have them ever. My family doesn't because my dad eats everything inside.
Yeah. No leftovers for me, thank you. But I will be watching. I would like to save them, but that's not how the internet or our job works.
No, you'll get spoiled immediately.
Yeah. So then we will see you in the first late November, early December, where we will all share our feelings and re-rank if that's what we must do.
Maybe
we will come out of the woodwork.
Maybe Max will be number 4. Just kidding.
Like, surprise, bitches. Check us out on Twitter at Pop Crush, Facebook Pop Crush,
YouTube Pop Crush Music.
Sure, yeah, that sounds right.
Snapchat Pop Crush Snap. Snaps.
Instagram, Pop Crush, all the good stuff. Are you still listening? Maybe you're
Yeah,
not.
you are.
Why not leave an iTunes review? Is this what people saying?
A good one.
Okay, good one. Okay, we're done.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.